Hi, you guys. Welcome. Welcome to Celebrate Recovery Live here at the Naz at Brighton Nazarene Church. Glad to have you. We hope that you guys can jump on here. We've had some great weather the last couple days. It's been nice having sunshine, being able to get outside, be able to do some yard work and get some physical activity out there. I hope that you guys have been able to do that, get out for walks and do different things going on. Hi, Rhonda. Some things are starting to pop up on here for me to see. So anyways, the weather's been great, so I hope that you guys have been able to take advantage of that because that's very important to be able to get out and to just get some vitamin D in your body and some sunshine and just get your bodies going. So, hi, Chris. And I think Danielle's on there. Not everything's popping up on here, so sorry if I missed you. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So I am a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, and I'm celebrating recovery from abandonment and emotional dysfunction, divorce, alcohol abuse, and I'm currently working on codependency and control, and my name is Megan. And I'm glad to be with you guys tonight. We miss you. It's so good to be with you on Facebook Live. But before we start, I just want to say that we love and we encourage for you guys to say hi and to make comments as we go. It's good for us to connect in this way, but I also want you guys to know that this is an open group, so anonymity does not apply here. And all of your comments, your name, first name and last name is popping up, and we just want you to know that before you do it. We would love for you to comment and to touch base with us if you feel comfortable, but if not, that's okay too. We also post these on the YouTube channel that we have for Celebrate Recovery. It is Brighton Naz Celebrate Recovery. So that'll be posted probably later tonight or tomorrow morning. So if you're more comfortable with that and you want the anonymity, then please feel free to watch our videos on there also. So after this, we have Zoom small group meetings. So if you've not touched base with your group leader, then please do so, or you can private message us on our CR Facebook, or you can email us at celebraterecovery@thenaz.org. And we know that the Zoom meetings have been having some problems with their security, but I want you to know that they are doing passwords now for everybody, so that helps keep it secure. So we hope that that makes it feel safe for you. We're trying to keep this as safe as possible so that we can stay connected to you. And we also want to start doing virtual tokens. I know that we have a couple people on here. So we're going to go ahead and do those, though, before we get started. So we want to start doing tokens as we do this because we want to make sure that we still celebrate our milestones in recovery. And this is vital, and it's important for us to celebrate with each other. We want to keep encouraging and sharing hope during this time of our virtual meetings. So if you're doing a small group, please feel free to share there if you don't feel comfortable doing it on Facebook. But again, if you are comfortable, we would love to celebrate with you. Hi, Becky. Hi, Don. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Chris. Hi, Pat. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Lisa. Anybody else who's on there that I can't see yet? But it's good that you guys are with us. So in the comments, what I would love to do, if you are celebrating something as I go through, if you want to put that you're celebrating a certain milestone and then people can like it or love it or say congratulations, but we want to celebrate with you. So if you are celebrating 1 through 11 months in any area of your recovery, then go ahead and if you feel comfortable, then comment in the comment section so that we can celebrate with you. And then if you are celebrating 1 year or up, we would love for you to comment so that we can celebrate with you also. But please keep in mind, too, that you can celebrate this in your small groups if you're doing Zoom groups, which we encourage you to do because it's important to stay connected. And again, we are working with that security. We have the passwords with Zoom. They're working on that. But they have made all the groups do passwords so that it keeps it secure so people cannot get into your groups that way if they're not invited. So we do encourage you to do that. And in your small groups, I encourage you to take surrender tokens too, if you are ready to do that. So we have our blue tokens that we have here. My grace is enough for you, and this is your your first step where your journey begins here. And we just encourage you, if you want to take a surrender token, if you're at that place where you're ready to do that, then you can again comment on here, or you can do that in your small groups as well. And if you're not doing small groups, you can go ahead and reach out to your support team and let them know your milestones and what you're celebrating, because again, it's important for us to celebrate with each other. So first, I want to say that not everyone is in the same place as me and not in the same place as you. We're all in a different place. We're all going through this in a different way. We all have different backgrounds. We have all different jobs. We have different things that are going on. So I'm going to share with you where I'm at a little bit, but I know that there are different personalities and different schedules going on. There are people out there who are working the front lines every day. And I thank you if you're one of those people. There are people in all different areas and areas that I don't even realize probably, but I know the nurses and the people in the hospitals and the doctors, and they're all getting a lot of attention, and we appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are in the frontline ministry at the grocery stores, at convenience stores, the EMS workers, the police workers. My son is an auto mechanic, and he has to keep working and dealing with the germs of people. But there are people all over that are working on the front lines and out there who are doing important stuff. So we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we are praying for you. And I want to encourage you guys, too, to also thank them if you're out and about and you see them. Make sure that you're thanking them. If you know people that are out there in those essential jobs who are doing frontline jobs right now, make sure that you send them thank you cards if you have their address and you know them, because that's important to keep everybody encouraged. And we also want to encourage you, too, that as we move forward and we're doing this online stuff and we're not face-to-face, I just want to remind you guys that Celebrate Recovery, we strongly encourage the same gender support team. So make sure that you're reaching out to the same gender, and make sure that if people are reaching out to you, if you are new, that the way that Celebrate Recovery does it is it's females and females and males with males. We do not mix those two as far as support team goes for safety, because we want to make sure that there's safety and people are building relationships with the same sex gender. So just keep that in mind. So going forward, my hope tonight is that I can help you connect with where you're at and where we can find some hope in the process of all of this. If you're not out there still working your butt off on the front lines, you probably have some extra time on your hands like I do, and lots of it. I'm working at home, but I still have a lot of extra time at home, and we can't go anywhere. So even if we are working at home, then we're still home, right? So our busy schedules have drastically changed, and that means that it leaves us without the unhealthy coping mechanism of keeping ourselves running all the time, so we don't have to face reality. And for most of us, we are facing our realities right now. The reality of ourselves, our hurts, our triggers, our broken relationships, our loneliness, our idols, the silence, the fear, the anxiety, our trust issues, our control or lack of control, our lack of strength, our enabling behaviors, our temptations. I could probably go on and on and on with that list, but we're pretty much faced with ourselves and faced with the reality of our lives when we're alone so much and we don't have all of this busyness to keep us occupied from our reality. Eventually we get bored, though, with the projects that we really don't want to do anyways, right? Social media, watching TV, and this can make it even harder for us. We get bored of doing the same thing. So what now, right? What do we do now when we get bored after we've been into this? This is our fourth Monday doing the online, and I really miss you guys, by the way. I can't wait to see you and celebrate with you. But what do we do, and what do we go to? How do we get through this in a healthy way where we can come out on the other side better? A few things that the first couple of weeks brought for me during all of this is, first of all, change, a lot of change that I'm not always good with. I need time to build up to change, and this was like a sudden change, not that I'm great with it anyways. But learning new things like technology, not fun. Losing income, being with my family 24/7, not being with all family. Some of our kids are not here and we can't see them, and I miss them tremendously. We're not having our regular get-togethers, and that can be really hard. Not seeing friends, not seeing you guys, not seeing loved ones, not having face-to-face contact with church friends, small groups, and Celebrate Recovery. not being able to hug. I'm a hugger and I love hugs, and I have 2 people in my house right now to hug. So dealing with myself, my character defects and my triggers, fear of what comes after this, cooking every day. Oh, that is tiring, coming up with something to cook every day. And not being able to eat out. I love to be taken care of, and part of that sometimes is going out to eat and not having to do anything, and I don't have that right now. Learning how to do life just different, right? There are lots of things that we're faced with, and I could probably have a whole nother list on there, but those are the things that came to mind. But it has also brought me extra time with my family, time to slow down and relax, time to work on things I have put off, time to work on things that I enjoy. That's been great. Time to have family dinners again. For me and my family, it's been quite a while since we've been able to do that quite a bit. Time to refocus on what matters and time to learn new things. And part of this, I can honestly tell you that I've enjoyed. I'm an introvert, and one of my love languages is quality time. And this is taking care of both of those for me, because I have people in my house that I'm getting quality time with, and I'm an introvert, so being at home, it can feel kind of good sometimes and relaxing, sometimes a little bit too much. But with everything, there's a positive and negative effect. And if I relax too much, I get depressed. If I close off too much and isolate, then I cut off the ones who are important to me. I can easily ignore the stuff on my UGG to-do list. That's what I've named it, is my UGG list. Those things that, are there, but you really don't want to do. The ones that need to get done, but we don't want to. And I have plenty of those. But the thing is, the more I isolate, the more Satan can play tricks on my mind. And the word for me this year that I picked is focus. And I pick a word every year. And that's funny, right? Because now I'm being forced to focus. Before, I was so busy outside of the house that when I got home, I quickly ignored the UGG list because my energy was spent already, and I would ignore some other things too. But now, since I'm at home 24/7, learning to balance at home, I had to learn a new way of doing things. And the first 2 weeks were honestly overwhelming and very, very stressful. It's the first time I had thought of wanting to drink in many years. And it scared me. This caught me by surprise because it had been so long since I even thought that way. But that was my wake-up call that things had to change and I needed to do something different. My first change was that I needed to focus on God first. Now, I read devotionals every morning, but that was it. I was just reading it. And I was so busy trying to figure everything out and busy trying to make things happen. But the key word here is I, if you can notice that consistency there. I was obsessing about everything going on and obsessing on doing things right, because who else was going to save the world, right? I mean, come on. I started feeling responsible for everyone else's feelings, actions, choices, wants, needs, well-being, and ultimate destiny. So I'm sure that there are many codependents out there who can relate with me, right? But I was fearful of the what ifs in life. I was becoming fearful of our finances, the economy, our future, keeping our house, eating rice for the next year, right? Like that's going to happen. Although I was not hoarding stuff, I can say. But fearful of someone I love getting sick, triggers, and more triggers. And I was trying to ignore that. I was so fearful. I was in denial, of course. I was just shoving it down. It was eating away at me, and I was not talking about it. I was trying to suck it up and deal with it. That's something that I've done a lot of my life, and I've worked on in recovery, but sometimes it still sneaks up on me. And in the meantime, it was like a cancer inside of me. I was not social distancing from my refrigerator by any means. So then I had to ask myself, what was I missing? And in John 6, he tells us about Jesus feeding the 5,000 people. There was a large crowd, and Philip, one of his disciples, asked him, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" How fitting, right? For a while, and even now sometimes, it's hard to even find a loaf of bread. People were buying all the flour to make their own supplies, or to make their own bread, because the supplies were running out. And we understand bread, right? Especially all you carb lovers out there. Are there any carb lovers out there? I'm sure there are. I love Gus's breadsticks. I cannot wait to have those again. That sounds good. So, anyways, it fills us up. And Jesus uses our understanding of bread to help us understand him. He also uses our understanding of water to help us understand him. Jesus declared in John 6:35, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never be thirsty. In John 4:13, it says, Jesus says, whoever drinks this water, meaning the water in the well that the lady was getting, will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. So I want to ask you, what is your well that you are pulling from? What is it that you're using as a quick fix? What is it you're using to ignore your hurts and your habits and your hangups? We have a God that wants to be that for you, and he has much more than a quick fix and an emotional fix. Some of you may question this because our past dictates our actions and our reactions and our questions about God. And what I want to ask you is, how were you treated? What were you told about God growing up? And how do people live out their life of Christianity in your life? And were you hurt or disappointed by someone proclaiming to be a Christian? Because that happens, and it affects how we look at God, and it affects how we react to God, and it affects how we run away from God. But what I have to say about that, first of all, is that Christians aren't perfect, and that's the easy answer, right? But what I want you to grasp more than anything is that God does not let us down like human beings do. He just doesn't. It's not in him. We might be disappointed in his answers sometimes, and we might even blame him for somebody else's choices. But God does not choose for somebody, and we're not his puppets. We're just not. But what God does is he loves us. He loves us. He loves you. He loves you right where you're at, and he loves you for who you are. And he wants you to come to him just like you are. And Jesus gave his life for you just because he loves you, and he has that love for you. And he died for your sins. He wants you to not only believe in him for salvation, for you to have eternal life in heaven with him forever, but for you to be free from the hurt and the burdens, the dysfunction, the anger, the sin, the destructive habits, the shame, the fear that you hold on to, that we can all hold on to. In order to do that, he comes in and he changes some things in us, because that has to happen in order for us to have freedom. When we allow him, he comes into those dark places and he brings healing. He comes into those triggers and brings healing. He comes into those fears and he brings healing. He comes into those character defects and he brings healing. But we have to let him in. We have to let him into those places that have controlled us for way too long. We have let him into those places that we thought were just who we are. Sometimes we go along in life just thinking, well, that's who I am, and there's no changing it. Well, I want to tell you that Jesus is bigger than that, and he can change that. He can change that inside of us because he created us in such a different way than what we are living out. We have to let him into those places that we thought were just who we are. We are not who the world says we are. We're not the labels that have been put on us, you guys. We're not. We are who Christ says that we are. You are loved, you are valued, and you have purpose. You. I'm talking to you. Allow Christ into that negative thinking. Allow him into all those negative thoughts about yourself. God created you for a purpose, and he created you on purpose. So let's allow him to show us that. But in order to do that, we need to live in our reality. We need to get out of our denial. We need to do our part. And what does that mean for you in this season of life? The first step is allowing him in. And the second step is continuing to allow him in. He will show us those character defects, not to make us feel shameful, not to bring them but to bring them to the light so that we can find freedom from them. We want freedom from all of that darkness that's inside of us, all of that junk that's controlling us. Don't settle for the ease of destructive things that may seem to help for the moment, because they do just that. They cause destruction and they seem to help for the moment, but they only help for the time being. And what helps, what heals, what brings freedom is coming to the bread of life and thirsting for the only one who can fill us, who can free us, who can satisfy that empty hole inside of us. And that, you guys, is Jesus. I also want to say that just maybe we struggle with this because we're told we cannot do something. That's the defiant part in us. We all have that in us, and it's so easy to do that. Last night in our family, we wanted ice cream so badly. Last night we did. But do you know why? We focused on it. It was because we didn't have it and we couldn't go get it. So we focused on not having it. That is all we could focus on for a while. And our focus makes the difference. So I want to ask you, where's your focus? By the time all the stores were closed, because there's no longer the convenience, right, of the 24/7 in all the stores, they're just not open like that anymore. And our conveniences are slowly fading away for the time being. So the question is, what will we do with that? We have allowed convenient, easy things taking control of our lives. We learned that instant gratification is the answer. Well, now we're being brought back to the reality that it's not the answer. It might be the quick fix. It might be what makes us feel better for the moment, but it is not what is best for us, and it has been stripped from us for the most part. So what will we learn from this, and how will we grow from this? What am I learning to do so far in this season? Well, I'll share that with you. And it's been a process getting here, I'll tell you that. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm trying to figure this out. But man, I'm learning to lean on God more and more. And I'm learning to spend more and more time in prayer. And I'm making goals for each day. I'm getting dressed almost every day to help me feel like I have purpose and to help me get going. And I'm in a challenge group to read a book of John every day. I'm listening to music that encourages me, doesn't discourage me. I'm getting outside. I'm getting moving. I'm talking about the struggles and the victories. Am I always perfect at these? No, absolutely not. But I do want to do what God's word teaches us in Romans 6, and that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And I want to persevere through this, and I want to come out on the other side better. Philippians 1:6 says, "And I am certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns." And that is so true. He is not going to stop working on us. He's continually trying to make us into who he created us to be so that we can live that life of freedom. So what will you do to thrive during this season? We need to have goals. We need to have a safe place to process what our struggles are and what we want to be held accountable for. And this is what Celebrate Recovery helps us with. When we start to make those connections and build a support team, when we go to small groups, when we use our recovery tools, we can move from the despair list to the how to do well list, right? So that we can get through this and we can get through it well. And if you're new with us, we just want to invite you to join us on our journey. We meet together every Monday night. Right now, we're doing it live because that's our choice. But usually we get together and we meet together every Monday night, and we do a large group with 12-step lessons and testimonies, and we get together and we celebrate with our tokens. And it's so great to watch people who are celebrating, and it shows hope. And we do testimonies during our large group, and then we do our small groups. We have small groups for men. We have the AAA group, which is addiction, anger, and anything. And then we have our sexual integrity group. If you're struggling with that stuff, if you're struggling with getting into any type of addiction, if you're struggling with your anger, if you're struggling with your emotions, if you're struggling with your anxiety, if you're struggling with pornography, if you're struggling with keeping your mind pure, then please reach out, because it is a safe place where everybody is going along the journey and doing the same thing. We're all just trying to be better. And you don't have to share with everybody what your struggle is. You don't come in having a label on your forehead where everybody knows what's going on in your life. I used to think that. For ladies, we have an addiction group. We have emotional healing. We have codependency. And we would love to have you there so that we can share, so that you know that you're not alone. You are not doing this life alone. If you're doing small groups with us tonight, we just want to encourage you to talk about the good and the bad. And that's what we do in recovery. We talk about the good and the bad. We need to balance out our recovery. We need to talk about what we're working on, but we also need to share our victories with each other and what we're learning. And it doesn't do us any good to stay stuck in just the struggles. So let's focus on what to do about it also. And do this as you're talking to your support team. Make sure that you guys have people around you to help you through this. Because I know that I have family at home that I can talk to, but not all of you do. Some of you are at home and some of you are alone, and you don't have that person to talk to face, and that makes a huge difference. We still have another month of this at least. This is the beginning of April, and we're just stuck in this for a while. So what are we going to do as we're in this? I encourage you that we're in this together, and to reach out to your support team, make a support team. If you need help connecting with somebody, please email celebraterecovery@thenaz.org, and we will connect you with somebody that you can talk to, and we will get you connected with a group if you want to do a group. But I'm praying for all of you, and I look forward to celebrating recovery with you again in person when this is all done. I'm super excited to do that. And again, please just allow God into those places. When we allow God into those triggers, into those places, then He can bring freedom and He can bring healing. And that healing is not only for us in how we react, but it's also healing for our relationships and everything around us. So I just encourage you guys. But again, if you guys want to join a small group, then I encourage you to get in touch with your facilitator. If you are not in touch with us yet, if you're new, then please contact us through celebraterecovery@thenaz.org. We will be watching that, or you can send us a message through our Facebook page. And again, I just want to encourage you, we'll do tokens again before we leave, because I know not a lot of people were on here, but we're starting to do virtual tokens because it's important for us to keep celebrating with each other and for you to celebrate those victories in your life. And you might not have somebody to celebrate that with. So we want to encourage you. Again, when we do this Facebook Live, people see your names, people see what you're posting. So I want you to know that there's not that anonymity and not that confidentiality there. So if you feel comfortable, we would love for you to tell us in the comments if you're celebrating. We have 1 through 11 months, and we have 1 year on up. So if you're celebrating any of those, then we would love to celebrate with you. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then please tell somebody that you know and celebrate with somebody, or celebrate in your small groups tonight. But I just want to encourage you guys to, again, stay strong, stay in touch with your Creator, because He is the one who's going to give you the strength to get through this and to get to the other side of this. If you're struggling, please, please, please make sure that you reach out. Lisa, congratulations on your 3 months of no explosive anger. That's awesome. That's awesome, especially being in the situation that we're in. That's great. I love it. So we also have our blue surrender tokens. So I just want to encourage you to, if there's something that if something, I don't know, struck you today as I was talking, or as you're just working through life and recovery, if something strikes you, then reach out and say, you know what, I'm going to surrender this today, because it's not just on Mondays, and it's not just when we meet together, but you can surrender and take your first step in any time, whether it's your first step to recovery in general, or if it's a first step to letting go of your anger, or working on a relationship, or whatever it is. You can do that anytime. But if you are doing small groups with Zoom with us, I encourage you to share that with your small groups if you are doing that. So I'm praying for you guys. And again, I encourage you guys to keep in touch, but we love you, and I just can't wait to see you again and celebrate with you. And we are going to be here again live next Monday at 7 o'clock. So we will see you then. Bye, you guys.